So first of all, thank you so much. You might have seen on my email list that I relaunched this series of Thursday morning talks. There was a typo. I'm sure you caught it. if you saw it, there's a typo in my. Oh, great! Nobody saw it. Perfect. I shouldn't even talk about it. But there was a typo in an error in my message. I said 8:30. It's actually 9 a.m. Pacific, which is 6 p.m. in France, for instance. And so I'm going to continue to do these sessions. For now, my plan is to continue at least until maybe the end of the year. We'll see next year, but I've had some really good feedback about those calls, and it's very valuable to my practice. It forces me to get ready to talk. It's like my own little digital stage where I come and I just riff with you. So that's the first idea. I decided also to slightly change the process. Usually I would record the whole entire 30 minutes, and then I would post it, almost unedited. I just clip a little bit at the beginning and the end on YouTube. I think I'm going to change this, and because I caught myself repeating the same kind of commercial announcement at the beginning of each session, it felt weird. And second of all, I think 30 minutes to 30 minutes videos are a little long, and I'd like to really focus on what's essential after I rewatch the recording. So it's going to create a little more work for me, but hopefully it's a better process for everyone and it's a better outcome. And it doesn't put me in this kind of mental framework or, oh, I have to look good right away on YouTube. It just enables me to just get the thing going. So that's probably more than you need to know. But I wanted to share the evolution of my process, because part of building a strategic narrative and part of being here also is sharing some of my tips and tricks as far as the creative process is concerned. All right. The third announcement is that before the session today, I was going a little bit all over the place with bits and pieces of my theory, my methodology. You probably know about the core concept, which is this idea that strategic narratives are systems of story. And so I'd like to refocus a little more on this particular piece. And over the coming weeks, I'm actually going to take a series of companies, and I will try to demonstrate their own strategic narratives. I will take those examples, those businesses, and I will run them through my model, which is what we're going to do today with the first one. So I'll try to do my best to give them credit, and I'll do the research ahead of time. If you have in mind ideas of companies that you would like me to run through my model, please send them my way. Give me a few weeks notice. You can place some request. Maybe hopefully you can try with my model to figure out what their strategic narrative is. That would be a wonderful skill building experience for you to build your own strategic narrative for your own company and your own business. So the idea behind this change is that this become a little more of a collaborative exercise versus just me talking from a stage. So that's the third announcement. I already started to build my own list of companies. I have about 20 of them. And Patricia, I hear you're on the call today. You talked to me about a company called Tony's Chocolate a few weeks ago. I researched them, and yeah, they're fascinating. So they're on my list, and I can't wait to run this company through the model and discover all the great thinking they've done to create a very unique, very different kind of a chocolate company, in fact. So that's one example. So I've got about 20 companies. If you want to send them my way, please email me. I think you know where to find me, right? Yes. Okay, good. Okay, fourth announcement. Man, lots of lots of updates today. Fourth announcement. I am incredibly thankful to see you here every week. I put a lot of time, preparing for these sessions, and fortunately, we've had a core group of people, show up. And through the summer, it was wonderful to have to see the same people, knock at the door and show up every time religiously. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite you to spread the word, because I have too many balls juggling at the moment. But if you feel, this is the first time I say this, I never asked for this, but I felt like, okay, maybe I need to ask for a little bit of help here. If you feel like these calls could benefit some of your entrepreneur friends, anyone in your network, this is free. There is no sales pitch. It's not a webinar where I try to sell you something. This is just trying to figure out something that I believe is important for our future. So if you have other friends, colleagues, family members, dogs and cats, pets, whoever, just bring them in. Andy's already on this, right? What's his name? Who's that behind you?
That's Lucky.
Lucky. He's lucky to be here.
Yes, he is. He's very happy about it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's it for the updates. Again, I'm thrilled to be here with a renewed energy and renewed ambition for these calls. Thanks for joining. Before I dive into the content, any questions? Looking once left, once right. Good. All right. Well, you may interrupt me at any time. I'm going to talk for maybe 5-10 minutes. I have a video to show you. I've got a story to tell you today. You may so let me finish my story, and then you can please type in your questions in the chat, opening up for questions, and let's make this a conversation. I'll try to keep this at 30 minutes. Sometimes it's like 30 minutes ish. It just goes over a little bit. So we'll see how this goes today. All right. Today, I want to talk to you about a company called Mod Pizza. This would be my my case study today. Mod Pizza is a pizza company originating from Seattle. If you are in the United States, there's probably high chances that you know this company. They've got about 500 restaurants. It's a fairly recent company, about 13 years old, I would say, right now. And they're extremely fast growing, and they have a special recipe for this, and that's what I want to walk you through today. It's a company that I've been it's a restaurant I've experienced, because there is a Mod Pizza in my neighborhood here in West Seattle, and it's a company that I love. But before we go into the story of Mod Pizza, I'd like to set a little bit of context and walk you quickly through the model that I put together to analyze what I call a strategic narrative. The fundamental shift that I see, the fundamental difference, comes from the difference between two words, the word story and the word narrative. In French, the word narrative does not exist. It is not in the dictionary. It's in adjectives. So that's going to be interesting. We have other synonyms for the same idea, the same concept of narrative. But in English, both words exist in the dictionary, obviously. A story is a recount of event and related. There's a typo here. Sorry, just noticed it. Gosh, I've showed this slide 2,000 times and I've never noticed this typo. There you go. A story is a recounts of events and related facts. They happen in the past. They're closed-ended. You can tell a story about your family, your vacation. And in doing this, what you do is that you recount history, right? So the number one mindset that you're in when you talk about storytelling is that you consider people around you as your audience. You're telling them, and they're going to receive that story. And what they're going to do with that story is up to them. And until now, storytelling has been really a buzzword, a very widely used terms, especially for marketing, because the common belief is that when you tell a good story, your business, your company will perform better. You're going to have something more attractive, more appealing. And that's right. But in my opinion, this is limiting. Why? Because of the word on the right, narrative. When you shift to a narrative mindset, the difference is that you're going to promote a particular point of view, or we're going to see today what the point of view of Mod Pizza is. It's a very unique one. You impact people's future, and you leave the door open for people to join you on an initiative, on a journey, on an adventure to commonly achieve an opportunity. Okay, I know it seems a little conceptual, but that's why we are going to have a case study to explain what it is. But the main thing I want you to keep in mind is that when you're building a strategic narrative, what you're trying to do is turn people from an audience to participants. And this assumes that you may not have the perfect answer for the problem you're trying to fix. You probably need their help. You probably need people to join you to participate in what is it that you're trying to build. But the good news and the powerful thing is that in doing this, you increase engagement times a lot. You make people participants of your story. So how do I define a strategic narrative? It's a question that popped in my email quite a bit in the past weeks. So I finally agreed with myself and put this definition together. The strategic narrative is a system of stories that you build intentionally to mobilize people to participate in a new opportunity. A strategic narrative is a system of stories that you build intentionally to mobilize people to participate in a new opportunity. So I still consider stories as extremely important. You know, that's not my point, is not to be against storytelling. My point is to take it to the next level of understanding. I think our business community would highly benefit from understanding this small but very impactful, very, very big nuance here. It is a difference. It is a nuance that has been already very well understood. It's mastered in politics, in social movements, and so on, for good reasons and also for bad reasons, very debatable things. You know, there is this idea of manipulation that is floating around this, you know, this concept of strategic narrative. In the context of what I do, I focus on hopefully the initiatives that will make humanity better. So this is the definition. Why do I talk about a system of story? Is because I've always seen storytelling in this very siloed kind of idea. And I believe that when you are better at connecting stories together, they start to form this idea of a narrative. What do I mean by this? Here is the model, and here's the only one model I primarily work on. This is the model that I work with my clients. That's the model that I have. I've taken people through my workshops, and I teach them how to use it. Visually, I wanted a model that is integral, that is very simple. It relies only on 4 key ideas. Under the model, under the hood, there is a wealth. There is a very complex network of tools, of concepts, of patterns, and these are the tools and patterns and concepts that I'd like to share with you during our calls. This model is integral because it covers 4 areas of how you can think about humanity and human being. You could take this model and apply it to your own practice. It would still work. There is an internal to external axis. Everything we do stems from the inside of who we are, our soul, and that's a very important component when you are the founder of a company. As we will see in the origin story, there is a triggering event. There is something that creates an emotional response that leads you to take a higher risk than normal to start something. In our context, we start companies, but some people start movements. Some people start nonprofits. Some people start gatherings, religions, you name it. So internal to external. Outside is everything we share, we communicate to our world. When we talk about go-to-market strategy, that's what we mean by the external side of this model. So There is an opportunity story here, which is not the opportunity for your business, not just you growing faster, selling more, or being this big business, this big, enterprise. The opportunity is the impact, the positive impact that you're seeking to create outside in your community. So for Mod Pizza, we will see in a minute the opportunity that they're trying to seize. I'm just going to give it to you in advance. No spoiler anymore. They are excited to build a company that provides better food and better job opportunities for people, a better workplace. The product story is, by definition, is the physical, tangible, accessible, actionable thing that you make, whether it is a piece of software, whether it is a service, whether it could be an electronic device, it could be food. I call it product because I wanted to keep the name simple, but it may be much, much broader than just a product. So bear that in mind. It could be a service, a process. It's the output of your company's activity. And last but not least, and probably what we're going to focus here in the next 10 minutes or so, is the perspective story. Is how do you approach a situation? How do you lead us to the opportunity? What's your unique point of view on, say, solving car safety? This is an example I've used in other calls with the example of Volvo. In 1959, the death rate, when you were driving a car was really, really high. Volvo came up with the first 3-point seatbelt. But we could have had another perspective on car safety and maybe have changed the rules, the driving rules, enforcing speed limits. Maybe it could have been teaching people how to be better drivers. All of these are different perspectives. A perspective is a reason for you to disagree with your competition. It's really important. If you think you don't have one, I disagree. You probably have one. Has it been expressed? Has it been clarified? Is it communicated well? Is it shared with the public? Maybe not. And that's what building a strategic narrative will help you do. All right, that's it for the framework. Whoa, that was a lot. We have a new person on the call. I just realized. George, hello, good morning. I hope you can hear us.
Yes, good morning. I can hear you. Yes.
Awesome. Welcome to the call. I'll keep going.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll keep going. So let's talk about Mod Pizza, our case study today. I live in the United States. I have 2 kids, and when we are on the go, feeding my kids is a little tough sometimes, and it kind of looks like this. It's chaos in the car, to be honest. Everybody wants different food. It's not always accessible. It's pricey. The price of food here in the United States has increased significantly over the past years, and we end up going in places where, because we don't have a choice, we're kind of dependent on what they have. It's not always the healthiest choices, to be honest, and also I don't always connect with the values of these companies, and I care about this, and so do more people caring about who we buy from. And that's the situation that the Svensson family was in 2008, as they're busy parents. They've got 4 boys. They're driving through Seattle, going from one activity to the other, and they're thinking, okay, we wish we had a better choice, but it shouldn't be just any kind of choice. So that's them. That's the Svensson family here. They are the founders of Mod Pizza, and Mod Pizza was really started out of a struggle, out of a moment of realization that something needs to change. But what characterized, and I think what makes really this company so successful, is that they looked at the situation differently. And here are the questions that they started wondering about: is what if everyone could get exactly what they wanted in their plate? So they're interested in pizza. What if everything was made fresh on demand and for as little as possible, because you have to feed a family 6 in their case. In my case, it's 4. The price tag can climb. And what if at the same time employees were paid as much as possible, given real opportunities for growth and even a second chance? That's how Mode Pizza started. So that's really the origin story here. The perspective that this company has and has had from the get-go is that if we take care, and I'm actually literally quoting their website, if we take care of our employees, they'll take care of you, and our business will take care of itself. So Mode Pizza starts in 2008 in Seattle. That's actually their first restaurant right here. What's striking is that really a pizza place who needs yet another pizza restaurant at this time, at the beginning of a financial crisis where companies are closing, firing people. Who needs yet another pizza option? There is Pizza Hut, there is Domino's Pizza, there's Pagliacci, there's Papa. I mean, I could pull the list, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the hundreds of brands here in the United States. Yet this family decides to still go in business. As of today, 2021, I think it was in May, they celebrated the opening of their 500th restaurant. They only, their growth was only -1% through 2020. And my theory is that it is thanks to a different strategic narrative that we didn't have before in this market. The first part of the concept is that you go in and you can literally ask for anything on your pizza or your salad. The price stays the same. So the menu is dirt simple. You only choose the size that you want, and you can have as many toppings. And my boys, who were sometimes playful and silly, did the test. They asked if they could have everything, and they did have everything. And the pizza looked more like a pyramid than a pizza, but that's really what you get on your plate. That's for the consumer side of the narrative here. The internal side of the narrative, the perspective and the origin, led to create a company that hires drastically differently from any other pizza chain. Mode Pizza actually will hire ex-convicts, people who need a second chance because they didn't make the right choices. They couldn't make the right choices in their life. Without the same background check that any other companies, and they treat them much better than any other restaurant chains. There are stories, and they're available on their website. And really, this leads to the observation that this place, I like that on their website, is not only is a place where we serve people, not only a place where we serve you better food, but also where we serve a community differently. So I think that their words would be better than mine. That's my analysis here. And then I'm going to show you how I place these ideas on the strategic narrative model. I just want to show you a quick video of that story, and maybe you can do the exercise here to find, again, in the way they communicate, they talk about their company, what is the origin? What is the opportunity that they are seeking to seize? What's their perspective? And what's their product? So this is a short video. It's out of their website. I just put it here in my presentation. It's 2 minutes. Let's watch it and let's do the exercise together. And then I'll show you my attempt at the answers. So let's make sure I share the right, make sure I share the sound properly here. There you go.
My name is Allie Svensson, and this is my family. That's my husband, Scott, the mod boss. I've known him since middle school. He's always asking questions, getting into the detail, connecting with people, and working non-stop. These are our precious boys, Tristan, Dylan, Caspian, Jasper. Unique, active, and never, ever dull. Tonight, this is our kitchen table, and we're right at home, right in the center of Mod. When we started creating Mod, we thought, what would happen if we built a company that measured success differently than everybody else? What if success was more than throughput or guest counts? What if our bottom line also included personal growth and individual opportunity and fun? What if passion counted as much as math? If we could create a place where people felt like they belonged and were celebrated for their personality and served a heaping dose of attention and care along with the most inspired pizza we could possibly make, what would that look like? It would look like this: a kitchen table surrounded by family and friends, and it would be right at home, right here in the center of Mod. We created Mod at a table like this, and the success of Mod will forever be measured by what happens at hundreds of other gathering spots just like this. Every Mod, every day, every guest, every time. That if we take care of our Mod Squad in everything that we do, our Mod Squad will take care of our guests, and our business will take care of itself. And let me tell you, at Mod, business is good.
So yes, indeed, business is good. It's one of the fastest growing restaurant chains right now in the United States, for the reasons that we've seen in the video. I want to make a comment. This is a corporate video. This is an advertisement for their brand. It's only the very small tip of the iceberg of the narrative. I wish we could go in the company, interview people. I wish we could talk to people. You could actually go to a pizza, one of the pizza restaurants, and talk to their employees. That's one of the benefits of studying a company like that. It's not always that easy for other cases. But I just want to say this because most people think that strategic narrative is just about marketing and communication. No, it's about everything. It's about how you walk the talk, how you operate, how you take this perspective and execute on the strategy. That's really what the narrative is. It's like an operational mode. So that's a very important distinction. I have to share with you whatever example I find, and the example I could find was a corporate video. But don't get me wrong, again, strategic narrative is not just about marketing. So I'm turning now to you. Did you find hints, crumbs of what those 4 stories might be? Let's start with the origin story. A few words maybe, or details you might have picked up. How did the company start? You want to see the answers right away. Okay, let's go to the answers because we're running also out of time. So I'm not gonna waste your time fishing for answers. Here's the origin story here. We can't find a quick, affordable, healthy restaurant option for our growing family as we are on the go. That's the primary problem. That's the very simple situation that those founders are in when they think about creating a new pizza place. And I bring this up here, and this story is so fundamental. It's so important that we always forget about it. Why did we start this company again in the first place? The origin story is like the seed of your business that gets buried in the root system once your company has grown. But that's the essential piece that holds the DNA of your entire organization. It's important to remind ourselves of where we come from, and that's what Mod Pizza does every day. I'll move to the opportunity story. The opportunity story is at the same time so simple, so pure, but so hard, maybe impossible to achieve completely. better food, better workplace. Okay, these are my words. That's my interpretation. So that's what I call this a narrative, because it's an interpretation of a series of facts. But notice something here. The narrative, the story is not, we want to be number one. We want to be in the top 10. We want to have the fastest growth. We want to get to $150 million next year, or we want to go public. The opportunity is actually way bigger than this, and maybe less measurable. So that's kind of the counterintuitive way to think about an opportunity in this paradigm here. In fact, so Mod Pizza tracks their number, but I read in the news that they don't necessarily track the number of impact hire that they do. They just feel like their impact can be sensed, can be seen, can be observed more anecdotally in their community. They track something, they will report on some of the initiatives that they have, but their impact is so big, so important, but at the same time hard to measure that they don't even try. So it's a new way of thinking about the possibilities that a company can achieve. Let's turn to the opportunity story here on the upper left part of our quadrant. That's how Ali says it exactly, words for words, in the video, by the way. It's almost like a manifesto of why this company exists. Spreading modness. If we take care of our employees, they'll take care of you, and our business will take care of itself. And that is a departure from the traditional, very often meaningless mission and vision statement that we spend so much money, so much time building, but that no one uses because honestly, we don't know how to activate it. Whereas here in this case, it's very clear, it's very human, and it has a clear priority. So a perspective story brings 3 attributes. And so if you're thinking about building yours, here are 3 keys you need to remember always. Is how do you differentiate in your perspective, not necessarily in your product yet. You know, notice have we talked about pizza a lot here? No. Yet their pizzas are really good, but the whole idea is to build a business based on a different point of view, a different perspective, a different approach to solving a problem. So the first one here, the 3 things you need to keep in mind for the perspective stories. Number 1 is differentiation. What is different stands out, and what stands out is interesting, but it also requires to think outside the box and take a little risk. I'll leave you with that. There's a lot more to say about this. Number 2 is a sense of direction. What is our priority here? And we do this by standing the ground and standing up and standing out and standing up with a clear set of beliefs and values. Right? Here, the priority is our employees. That's the number 1 thing. And number 3 is how your perspective story will create a sense of community, because a perspective is a chance for people to agree, but also disagree with you. You're going to increase your chances of forming a group that believes what you believe first. This is a concept I borrow, it's from the famous book, Start With Why, from Simon Sinek. We don't sell what we do, we sell why we do it, and that's what people buy for. That's not exactly the right quote, but that's kind of the idea here. So here you have it. The Mod Pizza case study ran through this model, simplifying the strategic narrative of obviously what counts is how it's activated on a day-to-day basis. But hopefully this gives you some keys and some thoughts and some concrete tools to apply for your own company and grow your business the way you want it. All right, guys, thank you for listening. I felt like I went fast. Did I rush through this? Was there some gaps? Please give me some honest feedback. Even for people who are not on video, I'm all ears. Did that fashion that I do this now slightly differently from the other previous calls. But Andy.
No, this felt like a good overview for me. Lauren's discussed some of this from her attending your earlier meetings, and I think this with the video gave me a good perspective of the pieces.
Okay.
So
what was one, maybe for you guys here on the call, what was one idea, one moment that you took away from this presentation and you go, hey, that's resonated with me? You could pick one thing, one topping out of this whole pizza.
You have to be different.
Yeah, you have to be different. Okay, awesome. If you focus on this for the short term or even the long term, you're going to create a different kind of company. I guarantee that.
Yeah, I think the something you said is you have to, for the perspective story, you have to have a reason for why you disagree with your competition. And I think that's really interesting question to ask your own company, or a company that you work for. What is the reason that do we disagree with our competition? That's right. Like a simple question. And it also makes me wonder about an organization or company or business that thinks that it doesn't have any competition. That's another problem. It's like a lot of companies operate that way, as if they're the end all be all for whatever it is that they do.
What I liked your comment so much, Patricia. I like to think about not competition, but competitive alternatives. If you frame it like this, it moves the conversation to, okay, if these people are not going to work with us, what else are they going to do instead? Right? What might be their way to work around? Or if you create a piece of software, if they don't work, maybe you're the first kind of software, the first one to build these kind of software. So you're thinking, we don't have competition, nobody's like us. Well, guess what? Your competition might be a manual process that takes way more time, way more money, is way more cumbersome, but that people know very well. They can see it. It might not be necessarily way more expensive, because sometimes hiring an intern just does the trick. So that's your competition right there. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. We went a little bit over. Oops.